And now, Knock 2 Studios presents Common Censored.
Elon, you have no right to take away Social Security benefits from millions of Americans over 120 years old. That's right, it's a constitutional crisis. That's right, Maxine. It's a threat to our democracy.
Chuck, there is clearly evidence of fraud happening in Social Security. How else do you explain the checks going to people 140 years old? Who are these people supposed to be, vampires?
Not exactly. But the answer is actually much simpler than fraud. You see, there are things in this world, dead things, many of them relying heavily on disability checks.
Chuck, if dead people are receiving disability checks, that's fraud.
Let's just say because someone is dead, that doesn't mean they're no longer eligible for Social Security.
Are you guys trying to say there are ghosts receiving benefits?
It's the only logical explanation besides fraud,
Which is clearly unlikely. Can you prove it to me?
Yes, we can. Meet us at the Congressional Cemetery tonight at midnight. Maybe once you meet someone who depends on Social Security checks, you'll change your mind about cutting them off. Go ahead, Elizabeth. Right. Stopping fraud in Social Security is somehow anti-democracy. Who dares disturb my gay kissing? Oh, it's you. Where the hell is my Social Security check? I have bills to pay, you know. I'm working on it, Benjamin. You see, Elon, without Social Security payments, homosexual ghosts like Benjamin Martin can't afford to eat.
Wait a minute. You're stopping my benefits because you think it's impossible to be 130?
I'm 287 years old.
You must be an idiot. Thank God I have highly ethical geniuses like Elizabeth Warren and Chuck Schumer to watch my back, or who knows what else you do.
Elon, you have no right.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Common Censored. That's right, it's Hump Day.
Hump Day!
Thanks for being here, all of you censored commoners. I'm Lord Sterling, and this is episode 345. SCOTUS betrays Trump, taxpayers, and the Constitution. Vladimir Zelensky shifts his stance, refusing to negotiate with Russia. Ian Carroll makes an appearance on the Joe Rogan Experience. A little typo in the title over there. The Rogan Experience. What the hell is Rogan? Let me fix that. There we go. Joe Rogan Experience. Thomas Massey reintroduces a bill to end the Fed. Meanwhile, Israel prepares a, quote, hell plan for Gaza. Definitely not a demonic entity, the state of Israel. Make sure to join us Monday through Friday, 6:45 p.m.-ish Eastern time as we cover all the crazy clown world clusterfuck chaos that is 2025. Use hashtag Common Censored and hashtag Info Infantry where applicable when you share the show. You can find us on X at Lord Sterling _. We're also on Truth, Getter, Gab, and Minds. Thank you to our new followers over on Rumble. If you're new to the show, smash that follow button, hit the like, and thanks for joining us. Links to all the sources we cover today will be posted after the show in the video description on Rumble and in the replies underneath the X broadcast feed as well. Mama Mac will be adding timestamps as we go, so if you're watching this later on and you need to maximize the efficiency of your time, focus, and attention, click on down there in the description, skim through the topics we cover, and jump right to the point in the show where we cover the things you want to hear about. Throw Mama Mac some love over at alplama.com, our new herbal health guru. Avoid the petrochemical pharmaceutical industry that wants you sick and dependent. Try some natural tinctures to remedy your ailments. And if you want to support the show, you can head over to our link tree at Common Censored. Disclaimer. Views expressed on Common Censored are only opinions. Assume everything we say is false and research for yourself. We're not giving medical, legal, or financial advice. The only advice we are giving is think for yourself. Question authority. Think for yourself. Question authority. Boom. All right, let's jump into the news. We had the first video over here. I'm not sure who makes these things. Al Berry comedy, it looks like. Still working out some lung issues over here, but on the mend, steadily on the mend. So I thought that was pretty funny. How about this? We had the Belarusian president Lukashenko inviting Putin, Zelensky, and Trump to meet in Belarus for negotiations ending the war. Quote, don't pressure Zelensky. Convince him. Come to Minsk, sit down, no noise, no shouting, and we'll make a deal. So that was a really positive development, but Zelensky now shifts his stance and declines negotiations with Russia at all. Just like Trump said, he's not ready for peace. He can't be ready for peace, as we'll get into momentarily. Wall Street Mav over here at Wall Street Mav. Breaking. Zelensky has changed his mind again and announced that he would not negotiate with Mother Russia. Zelensky does not want to discuss anything with Russians and make any concessions. He wants to continue the war because he's a little gremlin piece of garbage. Here's the clip.
Нам відомо, що росіяни не змінили своїх позицій та вимог щодо України. Вони будуть
I guess I'll narrate along since the volume's already pretty low and the text is pretty small. And one last thing, we know that the Russians have not changed their positions or demands regarding Ukraine. They will insist on reducing our army. They will seek a legal renunciation of our territories, as well as a significant political deformation of Ukraine with the weakening of the Ukrainian constitution. Ha! Hilarious! The weakening of the Ukrainian constitution? You suspended elections. You banned the political opposition party. You banned, churches and stuff. You banned media that was going against your bullshit globalist narrative. Oh, but Putin is weakening the Ukrainian constitution. Sure. Got it. But I will say that, in fact, as long as we all in Ukraine stand together and stand strong, as long as we're here, no one will succeed in this. Peace will be dignified.
Слава Україні.
Glory to Ukraine. No, how about no? How about no? How about fuck you? How about prepare yourself mentally for your inevitable ascension, but not into a light being, into a cloud of pink mist. I've got a feeling that's coming down the pipeline. At some point, guys, at some point. So this is a trending topic over on X. Link will be in the description if you want to go through and get everybody's takes on it. Zelensky does 180, refusing to negotiate with Mother Russia. Oh, man, this makes me sick. But why? Why can't he negotiate with Russia? Well, at War Clandestine over here has an interesting take. Another reason Zelensky cannot allow this war to end is because he is covering up deep state bioweapon development in Ukraine. Elon Musk already found the paper trail via USAID project Predict, which means Trump knows also. This is why Fauci and Hunter's pardons begin in 2014. Ding, 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 Metabiota, etc. This is why Zelensky ordered the destruction of all files associated with Hunter's biolab company, Metabiota. This is why the media mercilessly attacks anyone who talks about the biolabs in Ukraine, to include RFK Jr. and Tulsi. This is why Zelensky can't surrender. If the war ends, Putin and Russian military have been adamant that there must be a formal investigation into the U.S.-Ukrainian bioweapon development in Ukraine. This will surely be a part of the negotiations between Trump and Hitler Putin. Putin wants justice for COVID, and he claims George Soros and his puppets are behind it all. Some of Trump's closest advisors and most important cabinet positions, Elon Musk, Tulsi, and RFK Jr., have also echoed the importance of this exact situation. Many keep asking about what we will find when we investigate where the money went in Ukraine. Eventually, we will end up at crimes against humanity. Yep, U.S. coordination of biological laboratories and research institutes in Ukraine. It's all connected. It's all connected. Ukraine is just a stomping ground for illegal black projects and money laundering for the elite. So that's probably pretty true. Pretty true. We also have Mike Benz with a superb summary of the U.S. biolabs in Ukraine. If you've been following War Clandestine, a lot of this will sound familiar. The U.S. aid we're funding bioweapon development in Ukraine. Eventually, the world will have to cross this bridge. It's coming. It's coming. We coming. Let's take a listen to Mike Benz with Benny Johnson.
In that answer, I just want to pin it down. What are the biolabs in Ukraine? Why were they all over Hunter Biden's emails? Why were there so many Obama-level State Department people involved in that? What has happened to these pathogens? What do you think that will be discovered in Ukraine? Maybe we don't know. Tucker says our intel agencies don't know right now. What do you suspect?
It's a great question. There's a charitable interpretation. There's a really, really, really dark possibility, and
Which
then
is probably
there
the
are
accurate one.
layers of gray in between, and we don't yet know where it all lands. The fact is if you're going to get involved with a company like Metabiota or or biolabs in a foreign country that create freakazoid pandemic viruses, you're going to need the sign-off of the national security state and the U.S. intelligence community. You're going to need that to be vetted by CIA, by NSA, by FBI counterintelligence, by the White House National Security Council interagency process. So, this is how you see Avril Haines at Event 201. This is how you see the U.S. military effectively in charge of the vaccine programs. When DARPA funds the creation of these viruses, this is
DARPA. Oh, look, we got Channel 2 Action News in the chat. What's up, dude? Good to see you. Thanks for being here.
What happened. Many believe with COVID-19, there was a major DARPA program in 2018 that funded the creation of these cleavage sites, these furin cleavage sites with the SARS-CoV-2 virus that then was incubated in the Rocky Mountain.
Evidence of using the CRISPR genome editing technology to create the furin cleavage sites to Frankenstein things together. This is nuts, man.
Lab that Tony Fauci was running in 2018 made its way to the UNC EcoHealth folks. USAID obviously funded $15 million to the Wuhan lab. That same Rocky Mountain laboratory in Montana that the DARPA grant went to create what many believe is effectively the recipe for COVID-19. That played a very significant role in the biological warfare program in the 1950s against Cuba. You can read Chris Newby's book, Bitten, about the creation of tick-borne viruses by the U.S. military.
Nazis were doing it too. Eric Traub was working on transmitting diseases using ticks as a vector for the Reich. And he was stationed, at least temporarily, over at Plum Island off the coast of Connecticut, where mysteriously, all of a sudden, the tick-borne disease, Lyme disease, showed up. Imagine my shock. Does that mean that I'm a victim of Nazi biological warfare since I've had Lyme disease multiple times? Probably.
To be used in the North Korean War in 1950 and to be used against the agricultural crop workers in Cuba to create basically a sublethal virus that would not result in tens of millions dead, but would rather incapacitate the agricultural workers so that they would not be able to mine their own crops. They'd not be able to refine sugar or to support themselves on the island of Cuba, and in tandem with sanctions would effectively force Cuba to be reinstated into the U.S. empire because they'd effectively starved to death because of these tick-borne viruses that would effectively incapacitate their ability to support themselves. So they need to import from the U.S. And with the U.S. refusing imports, this would effectively complete the strategy there. And that book meticulously documents the use of the Rocky Mountain labs for collecting ticks and fleas and other insects, creating gain-of-function research. Many believe these are the origins of Lyme disease, which is its own topic. But the fact is The benign case for it is these Ukrainian biolabs exist for the same reason that USAID funds the Wuhan lab and funds labs in Canada and in other countries to do gain of function research where they create freak mutant superviruses. They jump them from animal to human so that we can advance the state of biomedical research to create vaccines in case something like this ever develops naturally in the wild through a wet market, or in case a foreign country develops bioweapons, we'll already have the vaccine for it. This is the sort of like the nuclear weapon defense. Why did we do so much nuclear weapons testing even after we bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki? That we needed bigger and bigger, hydrogen bombs and atom bombs and neutron bombs because Russia was developing nuclear bombs. And so we needed even bigger nuclear bombs than they needed. Of course, that set off the nuclear arms race and effectively defined several decades of U.S. history. But that ended when there was the sort of nuclear treaties that everyone agreed to put down. But the fact is basically every country is signatory to these bioweapons treaties as well. And what it looks like here is in the name of, so the charitable case is we're doing this in Ukraine and China and Canada because we can't do it here in the U.S. It would be too dangerous, or we have laws and regulations and contravention of doing that. Of course, Ukraine is a lawless zone. We just saw the struggle for control over the legal system and the prosecutors in Ukraine in that John Kerry clip. So the charitable case is we're doing it so that we can make vaccines there. Of course, you see Pfizer.
Right. The problem with that is that there are infinite ways that a virus can evolve. The idea of being able to predict how a virus will evolve so that you can make a vaccine preemptively is retarded. There's no chance you can predict all of the one way that the virus will actually evolve so that you can have a vaccine ready. You can't do it. You can't do it. Otherwise, we would, the flu virus, they'd be able to have a vaccine every year for that year's strain. But nope, it's based on last year's strain because you can't predict how things will evolve. So it's ridiculous. Yeah, Channel 2 Action News. The new theory is that wokeness is a parasitic infection that changes the way you think. So there may be a treatment for communism, which is horse paste, basically. Mama Mac, the architect of the theory. We got to test it out. We got to take the fluoride out of the water and put ivermectin into the water. And we'll see how it affects the woke mind virus. Yeah, Loki's going crazy over here. You give her a little bit of apple, a little bit of fresh, delicious, juicy apple, and she starts going into explorer mode and trying to climb around under the desk and everything. It's freaking wild, man.
In the biosecurity world all over.
So he's saying Pfizer, fingerprints of Pfizer all over Ukraine.
There. Of course, you see Pfizer in the biosecurity world all over the Ukraine map. But there's a potentially darker story here, which is that if you ever needed to destabilize Russia, and you're right on its border with Ukraine.
The butt lust too, Mama Mac. That Toxoplasmosa gondii allegedly linked to gayness. Interestingly, Mama Mac. So could parasites be responsible in part for gayness and for wokeness? I mean, they're basically the same thing, right?
You could see a pandemic popping off in in the western part of Russia, and it would be very easy to do. You simply carry pathogens over the border, and you could do the same thing potentially there that the military intended to do in Cuba in the late 1950s, the same thing that was done in North Korea. And, there's a strange habit of these outbreaks breaking out in conflict zones. The Pentagon talked about this in the 1990s when everyone can read Thomas Barnett's Pentagon's New Map. It's a book and a video series presentation you can still find on YouTube, where he justified the post 9/11 military expansion of the American empire by saying we need to fold the core, the rim, into the core. The rim are all the countries that NATO has not yet conquered, because from the rim, three things are coming out of it. and he said drugs, terrorism, and pandemics. So because, these mystery pandemics keep coming out of the countries we have not yet attained political vassalage control over, we can use that as a predicate to get military boots on the ground. And when you have these massive medical facilities, you need security to guard them. So boom, just like that, you've got a military presence to protect all the hospital workers and the clinics and the public health ecosystem. Well, now you've got your special forces in there. Now you have your internal foreign defense funds that are going to that. You basically are already halfway pregnant in terms of military presence there. We did this in Africa, for example, with AIDS, by alleging that Africa was, suffering this massive AIDS epidemic. We managed to get a giant military presence in Africa. You see the same thing that happened with MERS and with.
So you say we're going to work on some some vaccine type stuff, and that justifies militarization, putting you halfway into a full blown military occupation.
SARS and with Zika, basically the military and medicine follow very closely. Donald Rumsfeld, I should note, who was the head of the Pentagon for Bush, what was he doing right before that? He got plucked out of Gilead Sciences, the major pharmaceutical company who had come to play one of the leading roles in COVID with Gilead funding, the production of COVID vaccines. Well, what was Donald Rumsfeld doing as the chairman and CEO of Gilead Sciences, and then going immediately to become the Secretary of War for the Bush administration during 9/11? If you folks remember, it was the anthrax scare that actually.
Just a little fun aside, the Department of Defense used to be the Department of War until they decided to go all 1984 about it and switch it to the exact opposite of what the purpose was, which is to wage war. They say now it's defense. It's not dead civilians. It's collateral damage. It's not a Department of War. It's a Department of Defense. Mind games, baby. Orwellian doublespeak.
Got Congress to authorize the military invasion of Afghanistan right after 9/11. Where did that anthrax come from? Well, it came from the high-level military.
Congress didn't actually authorize the invasion. They artificially and illegally delegated the ability to declare war over to the president. So Bush declared war illegally. Congress has the exclusive power to do that.
Facility at Fort Meade in Maryland. It was actually a U.S. biolab that those very anthrax vials came from, that was used as the justification. What I'm saying is these things, we don't yet know the answer. Sometimes a gain of function freak mutant virus creation on the eastern edge of Ukraine to create a vaccine is just a freak mucozoid mutant biological super weapon to create a vaccine. Maybe, as Freud said, a cigar is just a cigar. But I have a lot of questions, and I think only Pam Bondi and this executive branch can really get the answer.
Hilarious Channel 2 Action News saying it's not war, it's just a mostly peaceful conflict. That's definitely what CNN would say. For sure. So Zelensky can't negotiate because it would mean all this stuff would get exposed. So he meets with the demon rat lawmakers before meeting with Trump when he comes to the U.S. And they're like, listen, you little fuck. You're going to keep our private business private or we're going to pink mist you, motherfucker. And he's like, oh. So then he's like, nope, we can't negotiate with Putin. Blah, 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 blah. Changes his whole opinion. Allegedly, of course. It's my guess, but that's what I bet's going on. How about this one? Trump pledges autism investigation during a recent speech to Congress, the unofficial State of the Union. Last night, President Trump highlighted the increase in autism rates among children from 1 in 10,000 to 1 in 36. Probably even 1 in a lesser number. Now, a fewer number? A lesser number with lesser and fewer. I don't know. It's a confusing one there. And indicated that his newly appointed HHS Secretary, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., would investigate the causes. This announcement comes amidst controversy due to RFK Jr.'s public skepticism regarding vaccine safety and his views on autism. Holden Culotta saying, I voted for this. I never thought I would hear this from a president's address to Congress. For real. Fingers crossed, man. We really need this to happen. Not long ago, 1 in 10,000 children had autism, and now it's 1 in 36. There's something wrong. Maha. And Mike Adams, the health ranger, naturalnews.com says, in his joint session speech tonight, Trump specifically mentioned how RFK Jr., as head of HHS, would work to find out why autism has exploded in children over the past few decades. Of course, both Trump and RFK Jr. know very well that autism is caused allegedly by the jib and the jab, stuff we can't say on YouTube as asso. This hint in his speech indicates they're going to work to expose that causal link. Ooh, man, can't wait for this to come out. What is up with this? And why hasn't Musk put out a single post exposing the Fed laws since 1972, forcing Americans into Israeli debt enslavement? Doge won't cut the trillion in fraud, waste, abuse, and corruption. Interesting stuff there. Interesting stuff there. We're going to have to come back and take a look at that in a little bit, I think. Someone explain to the people suffering from economic disparity why the following. Since 1972, U.S. taxpayers are responsible for all Israeli debt by federal law. Wow. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Let's see what we got next on the list over here. Ontario. Jumping the shark again as they cancel their Starlink contract. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. I think you guys can hear me. Sorry about that. Just had a power outage. Entire house went down. Luckily, Loki didn't try to fly off my shoulder when the lights went off, because she could have been injured. So thankfully, she stayed right on my shoulder. Give me a second to boot up vMix so you guys can get video along with audio again. Just be one moment, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for the brief interlude as my power went out completely. That should do it. Can you guys see me again now? You can see me and hear me? Everything's back to normal. Channel 2 Action News. Didn't know you were streaming from North Korea. Shh. Shh. I got special permission from Kim Jong-un. Kim Jong-un. All right. We're back. Have video. Have audio. The feds finally got me, Bulldozer. 5x5. Whiskey Peddler. Rachel Boone. Welcome back. All right. We're back. Hopefully the power doesn't go out again. So, Ontario Premier Doug Ford's asshole has canceled $100 million contract with Elon Musk's Starlink in response to U.S. tariffs on Canadian goods. Basically, Canada is saying, oh, we're so mad, eh? We're going to shoot ourselves in the foot to get back at you. It's like you're not actually, you're worsening your position. You had access to constant internet from space, and you think somehow you're besting us by hurting your own capabilities? Okay, Doug Ford, sure, that sounds like a good strategy. Cut off your nose to spite your face. This action is part of a broader set of retaliatory measures, which also include a potential 25% surcharge on electricity exports to the U.S. and a threat to cut off electricity entirely. And I said yesterday, war crime. What I meant was act of war. Act of war. It would be an act of war to just straight up cut off all of our electricity that's coming from Canada. Although, if they did that, we could just cut off the electricity we're sending to Canada and reroute it to where it needs to go. So it's kind of a wash either way. Despite the aggressive rhetoric, all retaliatory measures have been paused after U.S. President Trump delayed his tariffs for 30 days. Did that happen? Here's Doug Ford, his asshole.
Is off the shelves. Also, starting today, all U.S.-based companies will be banned from taking part in government procurement. Every year, the province and its agencies spend about $30 billion on procurement, alongside our more than $200 billion plan to build infrastructure. U.S.-based businesses will now lose out on tens of billions of dollars in revenues. They only have President Trump to blame. I'm also urging all 444 municipalities to do the same, and I'm thrilled to see some are already stepping up. For example, Mayor Patrick Brown in the city of Brampton and many other cities. As part of this government-wide procurement ban, we're going one step further. We're ripping up Ontario's contract with Starlink. It's done, it's gone. We won't award contracts to people who enable and encourage economic attacks.
This whole narrative that this is an attack is such bullshit. It's like if I'm sitting there punching you in the face over and over for 4 years and you're not doing anything, and then you punch me back and I say, oh, you're attacking me. Canada's been siphoning out hundreds of billions of dollars from the U.S. and the second we say no more, they're like, it's an attack. Fuck you, Doug Ford. You fucking clown. Complete garbage. These people are insane.
On our province and our country, alongside federal tariffs and the measures my fellow premiers are bringing forward, this Team Canada's opening response.
Yeah, you're fucking done. You're done. It's not going to go well for you, I don't think. How about this one? I don't think you meant to say that. Camelodger Dove's comments on Trump misconstrued? Oh, I think it was not actually misconstrued. It was just a Freudian slip. Robbie Starbuck posting this Democrat demon rat rep accidentally let the truth slip out about what Democrats plan to do after President Trump's State of the Union, saying, we're going to continue to speak lies to his truth. This is a real quote. Absolutely incredible. It's not being misconstrued. She fucking said it. It's a Freudian slip. Listen to this dumbass.
You don't care about this country, and that is unacceptable if you claim to be the president of the United States. So we are here. We are not going anywhere. We are going to continue to fight back, and we are going to continue to speak lies to his truth, to his stealing, and to his cheating. Thank you.
Gonna speak lies to his truth. Good job owning yourself there. Nick Sortor saying, LMAO, these subtarded anti-Elon and Trump congresswomen's just said the quiet part out loud. We're going to continue to speak lies to his truth. That's the truth right there. That is the truth. And just like Joe Biden said, we have built the largest, most inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of the country. Like, it was not a lie. It's just a Freudian slip telling the truth, in my humble, not so humble opinion. So hilarious. MAGA _ patriot Trump girl saying, you probably shouldn't have said that. Hilarious. Sorry about that. I got Hoot Hallow posting in the chat from Charlie Kirk. Breaking. President Trump issues a final ultimatum to Hamas, demanding the immediate release of all living hostages and the bodies of those they, quote, murdered, or says President Trump, quote, it's over for you. Shalom Hamas, he says, means hello and goodbye. You can choose. Release all the hostages now, not later, and immediately return all of the dead bodies of the people you murdered, or it's over for you. Only sick and twisted people keep bodies, and you are sick and twisted. I'm sending Israel everything it needs to finish the job. Not a single Hamas member will be safe if you don't do as I say. I've just met with your former hostages whose lives you have destroyed. This is your last warning for the leadership. Now is the time to leave Gaza while you still have a chance. Also, to the people of Gaza, a beautiful future awaits. But not if you hold hostages. If you do, you are dead. Make a smart decision. Release the hostages now, or there will be hell to pay later. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America. What about the Palestinian hostages being held by Israel? What about how their Knesset is now investigating the intelligence failure on 10/7 that allowed that where the Iron Dome stood down and allowed the attack to take place? Why is this a one-sided situation and nobody cares about the crimes of Israel, the state of Israel, which is a demonic entity, in my opinion? Let's see, how many hostages, let me look real quick. How many Palestinian hostages being held by Israel? They've had thousands of hostages for a long-ass time, if I remember correctly. Can't find any information very quickly on that, but I don't like this. I don't like this one-sided situation. Neither party is in the right. These are both bad groups over there, and the fact that Trump is just doing everything that Israel wants. Why is Trump giving Israel things that it needs to finish the job? We shouldn't be giving them anything. We should be not sending financial aid to any foreign country, in my opinion. So this is bad, in my opinion. Bad direction to be going, generally speaking. Let's see what we got next on the list. We have Ross Ulbricht pardoned, who has now attended the State of the Union last night. Ross Ulbricht, founder of the dark web marketplace Silk Road, was recently pardoned by President Trump. Following his pardon, Ulbricht was invited as a guest by Representative Thomas Massie to the State of the Union address, highlighting his newfound freedom and the implications of his case on criminal justice discussions. Thomas Massie. Congress just stood up and applauded Doge. Oh, that's not the right one. Here it is. Thank you, Mr. President Trump, for freeing Ross Ulbricht He's my guest at the State of the Union. I was honored to give him a debt badge at dinner last night. Oh man, I want one of those debt badges. Constantly counting the national debt. There he is, Free Ross. Good call by the libertarians. Thankfully, Trump actually did it. Good stuff over there. Good stuff over there. Like to see that. Let's see. We got, speaking of the State of the Union, we had a funny clip over here as a demon rat flashes, quote, "This is not normal" sign when Trump walks into the chamber and a Republican lawmaker takes it and flings it into the air. Look at this dumbass bitch over here. Let's check out the video. There's a sign right over there. This is not normal. What are you talking about? Doing the right thing, cutting government waste, not normal, should be normal. So, pretty funny over there. I think I got a little distracted by Loki and missed the moment of the toss. Oh, there it is. grabs the sign and tosses it. Let's see. Here he is, rips it out of her hand, throws it into the air. Good for you. Screw these demons. Total demons. So that was kind of funny. And we have some really, really, really bad news today as the Supreme Court betrays taxpayers and the Constitution, ordering the Trump administration to immediately unfreeze foreign aid payments, with Barrett and Roberts siding with the majority, siding with the minority to make a majority. More accurately, stunned Alito issues a scathing dissent. As a response, the SCOTUS caved to the radical left on U.S. aid disbursements and usurped President Trump's constitutional executive authority. On Wednesday morning, SCOTUS ruled that the Trump admin must, quote, immediately release $1.9 billion in foreign aid payments. The Hill notes that this decision maintains a district court judge's order that the administration must honor foreign aid payments that existed before Trump took office. Well, you know, immigration laws existed before Joe Biden was in office. Congress passes laws, Congress allocates money, and the executive branch either decides to execute or to not execute those things. So we had immigration laws, but Joe Biden didn't enforce those. So why does Trump have to enforce this spending from Congress? It's bullshit. These people are like, oh, they're pure evil, man. The court ruling was 5-4, with all three liberal justices siding with the nonprofit groups suing to have their funds restored. Conservative, quote unquote, Justices John Roberts and Amy Coney Barrett as assho voted with a majority for reasons unknown. Justice Alito issued a furious dissent in response to this disgraceful ruling, saying, quote, "Does a single district court judge who likely lacks jurisdiction have the unchecked power to compel the government of the United States to pay out and probably lose forever $2 billion taxpayer dollars?" He wrote. The answer to that question should be an emphatic no. But a majority of this court apparently thinks otherwise. I am stunned. This has got to be one of Trump's biggest failures from the first administration, picking Amy Coney Barrett. Taking advice from the idiot rhinos that surrounded him in the first administration, and we're suffering the consequences now. Your pocketbook is suffering the consequences. Rachel Boone saying SCOTUS actually ruled it money for services already provided. Interesting, but we do not know what services. That's crazy. That's crazy. Services provided. How is are foreign NGOs providing any services to us? I don't know. I don't even care. Just cut the money. Let them flounder. Fuck them. Fuck them. That's our money. They don't have a right to it. We need to cut all foreign funding, period. We're $36 trillion in debt. As you know, we can't be borrowing money to be sending other people money. Oh, my hair is all fucked up. Yeah, it's not a mullet, Sig, because it's longer in the front than in the back. It's just fucking long. It's just long hair. I gotta get a haircut. My hair is usually, trimmed up nicely, a nice pompadour, But I don't know. I haven't gotten a haircut in a while. Basically, that's what it is. As TGP previously reported, District Judge for the District Court of Columbia, Amir Ali, a Biden appointee, temporarily blocked President Trump from canceling foreign aid contracts last month. Ali is a radical left anti-Trump activist who has accused the president of hating Muslims and lobbied for Black Lives Matter activists and defunding the police. So he wants to defund the police, but he wants to fund foreign NGOs. Gotcha. The Trump administration had previously paused the aid for 90 days. However, Ali claimed that blocking foreign aid had caused, quote, tremendous harm. Bullshit. Bullshit. Go all Billy Ray Cyrus, the Ripper. Let me just prove it's not a mullet real quick. It's more like Cousin It, right? I could do the podcast as Cousin It. I could barely see anything though. So, not a mullet. False pompadour. Mullets are pretty cool, Sig. I will tell you, but I don't have a mullet. I would own it if I did. So, this is a bunch of bullshit. In my opinion, highly frustrating and was not surprising after seeing this yesterday. I noticed it while we were live watching the speech, the State of the Union, but I didn't say anything because I was trying to shut the fuck up and let President Trump talk. Actually, this was not while he was talking; it was after the fact. But we were listening to the interactions and everything. But look at how Amy Cunty Barrett looks at President Trump here. She looks furious. Looks furious at President Trump. Look at her staring daggers with a scowl, and then can't even look. Can't even look at him for more than 2 seconds. This fucking bitch over here should have never been put in place. Absolutely infuriating that she's even in this position. She should have never been there. She's not a real conservative or Republican. She's constantly siding with these leftist losers and screwing us over. Yeah, Trump wins the hair contest, Sig. For sure. For sure. The El Camino of haircuts. Outlaw Dogs, the mullet. Business up front, party in the back. You know it. You know it. So highly frustrating. We have the some more footage from a little bit more of a zoomed out angle, so we can see this. Look at her. She fake smiles, shakes his hand, and then glares at him. You can see the downturn on the sides of her mouth over there. Pure evil, in my opinion. Why are we not getting sound now all of a sudden? Let me just... Okay, it's just those 2 videos. There's no sound for some reason. Okay. That's good. That's good. So I think that, maybe we should take a look into Amy Coney Barrett's finances. Is she getting kickbacks? Why is she continually siding against the Constitution? Time to investigate her and every justice that voted to spend our money on fraud, says scary election denier at No Man Tedesco over on X. So I kind of agree with that. What is her motivation here? We also need to investigate Mark Elias and Norm Eisen, Kate at Kate_P45, posting this one. How can the Supreme Court tell Americans that federal judges can run our country and force us to fund aid? Now every activist federal judge will issue rulings that will give them this power. It's time for the DOD to investigate Norm Eisen and Mark Elias, who are behind many of these suits and are picking their judges. I agreed. Sarah S. of Tennessee saying this is supposed to be a free country ruled by the people by representation, not a critarchy, a system ruled by judges. Freedom fan saying that we need to investigate if ACB and Justice Roberts have been compromised in some way. I believe they have. They probably have. We got another idea over here from Mike Lee. Is this the right thing over here? Let's see. Here we go. Time for Congress to act, says Ath Retro Girl C. Franklin. Time for Congress to act, eliminate the D.C. Circuit, and codify that a single judge can't decide national policy of the entire executive branch and claw back this funding of $2 billion. While defunding USAID, I saw another comment saying that they should just... I think we'll get to that in a second. It's further down the list, I'm pretty sure. Rep. Thomas Massey demands Congress cut off USAID funding after the Supreme Court's outrageous ruling, saying that Congress still has the power to do it. And so there's the article about that. If you want to check that out after, links will be in the description for everything. I like this one. Empty at Buckets of Empty. What a sad name. Says, based Mike Lee, Trump can close USAID immediately by executive order and by default remit all monies allocated back to the Treasury. Tell him to do it. I agree. From what I understand, Congress can allocate money, and then if you don't spend it, you can send it back. It just never gets done. Remember, we saw the interviews with people saying, yeah, at the end of the fiscal year, they're saying, take all these vacations, do all this stuff, because we don't want to send money back. Let's just cancel USAID entirely and send the money back. Send the money back. We can do that, I think. So let's see. Here's the trending topic about this one. If you want the link, it will be in the description after the broadcast ends, so you can get everybody's reactions. Supreme Court upholds USAID funding release. Ron DeSantis stepping up in our favor, backing us here, saying Justice Alito is right. The liberal district judge has no authority to order POTUS to send billions of dollars overseas. The Supreme Court missed a huge opportunity to put a stop to rogue district courts interfering with executive branch operations. I bet you Trump is regretting listening to the losers that recommended he pick Justice or Amy Coney Barrett for a Supreme Court justice last time around. It's coming back to bite him in the ass. Bigly, that's right. Elijah Fire. He spelled age wrong, and Elijah Fire also says, let's invade Canada with killdozers. That's right. I've been saying invade and liberate Canada for probably a year now, at least on this show. Elijah Fire representing the killdozers. If you guys haven't already gone over and to Billdozer74 on Rumble, give Billdozer a follow. Follow him on X. Awesome dude, great show. If you like what we talk about here, you like Billdozer's opinions too. We're pretty much in sync with a lot of stuff. So big ups to Billdozer. We salute Billdozer, doing a good job. Keep it up, man. I think he's going to be broadcasting Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday now. Working up to 4 shows per week. Another channel you guys should subscribe to, Questions That Need Answers, over on Rumble, our very own Crazy Bees channel. I shared it out yesterday to the Dot Wins, and she got a big boost in views, so that's exciting to see. Questions That Need Answers, Cerebus, join in the chat. What's up, Cerebus? Thanks for being here. Says, claimed my bot name before I start my channel. Sounds good. Let's see. Oh, this one is my favorite idea for a solution. B. Paul at Jeep Prairie over here saying President Trump should just go full Andrew Jackson on this court. That's what I would do. I do not recognize your authority. Andrew Jackson, 1832, saying, John Marshall has made his decision. Now let him enforce it, or try, because the Supreme Court doesn't have any enforcement mechanism whatsoever. 3per saying, here's the thing. Every mortgage, private or corporate in Canada, have to be refinanced every 5 years. Unlike America, I don't understand the implications of that. I am not a mortgage expert. But if you want to expound upon what that means in the chat, I would be happy to read it, and I would like to understand better. What is that good or is that bad? I don't know. Threeper. I've never had a mortgage. Let's see. So yeah, I say go full Andrew Jackson, and then fuck it, arrest the Supreme Court judges that are that are making these bad illegal decisions. And thanks to Jeep Prairie for just following me. How did that happen? That's so weird. I just started talking about this post from B. Paul, and all of a sudden this dude just followed me on X. It's like how we were talking about the Tiger King a few weeks ago, and all of a sudden Joe Exotic was hanging out in the chat talking with us. How does this happen? That allegedly. Oh, nice. That's a good one. Cerebus. Love it. I have a banner for that as well. The allegedly banner for when we make accusations or allegations. Always allegedly. Assume everything we say is false and research for yourself. How about this one? One of the next Senate confirmations we can look forward to, hopefully, is that of Jay Bhattacharya, who was on point ahead of the COOF stuff, saying all the good things before everybody else. Like RFK was heavily influenced by Jay Bhattacharya. Senate confirmation of Jay Bhattacharya could bring an end to cruel and wasteful Fauci-era testing. That's right. No more herding beagles. For instance, Threeper says buying a home in Canada, they have to be refinanced every 5 years, unlike locking in a rate in America and it not changing. It's a way to keep rates high and home ownership low. Oh, so they're using that to screw over the people and artificially raise their rates every 5 years to disincentivize home ownership. Gotcha. Homo. Oh, man. Critics of Anthony Fauci's tenure as director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases might breathe a sigh of relief. Wednesday, as the Senate's expected confirmation of Dr. Jay Bhattacharya may bring an end to the regime of absurd and far too often cruel animal testing sponsored by the National Institutes of Health. I want capital punishment for those beagles and for the young children that were stolen from their families in the 80s surrounding the whole AIDS situation, and for every victim of COOF and the jib jab. I want capital punishment. Of course, as you guys know, spikes for pandemic perpetrators allegedly after due process, of course. Let's go ahead and terminate the YouTube feed so we can actually say what we want to say over here. Anybody watching over on YouTube, we're going to go Rumble and exclusive. So open up a new tab. Come join us. There's the link for you to hop over to Rumble. If you can't make it, sorry to have to ditch you. We'll see if I can do the Let's Get Ready to Rumble thing with my voice. Like 92% better at this point. Let's see. Sorry to ditch you if you can't make it. But until next time, let's get ready to rumble. Still all fucked up. Boom. All right.